Okay. I think we're doing it. I'm trying to do a screen share for our Net Back to School 5-day live video series. And if you are here, if you could let me know that you see a thing that says day 3, what to do instead, that would be really helpful. So if you see this screen, day 3, what to do instead, could you just give me a thumbs up or let me know, yes, that's what you're seeing? Because I guess it's possible you're seeing me, but I don't realize it. So let me know what's on your screen right now, because I'm trying this new screen sharing to see if it will work. So anybody out there? Okay, Allison says it's working. Perfect. Then we're just going to press on, and I'm kind of excited. So day 3, we've been doing this 5-day live video series about how to deal with the back to school wave that's upon us. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh, for those of you who see this tiny.cc, not back to school, make sure you're signed up, because I sent out some really fabulous, I think, fabulous handouts for each of the videos, but especially today, because today is 30 inspiring tips for what I've collected over 22 years of listening to people, of what do they do when the kids all leave on the bus to go to school that first week. What do you do? What's something fun? And I have 30 different ideas for you to choose from. So if you don't get to some this year, you can get to them next year, or you can just do them all, one week after another. There's so many different ways that you can make this a really awesome celebration, about making this choice. So I want you to sign up here to make sure you get the handouts and my little video reminder, or my email reminders. I'll probably, because this is such a cool thing, I'm pointing to my handout like you can see it. I will probably put a little link in the comments after we're done, so that people could just go ahead and get this if that's what they wanted. So we're going to get started. So celebrating your life together, that's really what we're doing. By the way, it's 6 p.m. here in South Africa. It's not back to school season for us. That's January, but I feel that this info is so apt for everyday life as an unschooler. How interesting that, so you start like on the regular year. I think sometimes in our country we're so confused. We don't do the metric system. We start in September instead of like at the start of a year. I don't know. We're a little goofy, but good to know. And this will give you all of fall. Well, it's probably not fall. It depends on what you're in the southern hemisphere. So you're having winter. Yeah. We're having 100 degrees in Texas, but I'm digressing. So celebrating your life together. That's what this is about. It's not that you're missing out. It's not that the kids hopping on the bus are getting something that your guys aren't getting. Your guys are getting something way better. So sometimes, because we've all been kind of indoctrinated into this schoolish way of thinking, we kind of buy into it, something deep inside us, and that's the stuff that we have to undo. And sometimes the way to undo that is to deliberately put other things in their place. So we take something away and we have a void, and then what happens is habits and concerns and those kind of creep into that void. So instead, put something deliberately in to fill the void, to make you happy, to get you inspired and excited about this choice that you're making for your kids, with your kids on a day-to-day basis. So it's a celebration. Because day 1, we did, what does your child want more of in their day, right? We talked about what can you do to help them cope with this, because the neighbor kids are all amped up and talking about it, or the cousins, or even just Daniel Tiger. They're all talking about it, and it helps to make sure that he knows, okay, they're doing that, but I'm doing this, and it's something he really likes. And then day 2, we talked about, what do you need to undo? Remember, we had a handout with a bunch of journaling questions, and hopefully you guys got a chance to do that. Or you've got time, you can just sit down and think about it. And I think that sometimes that's another important piece to unschooling, is that we can get so caught up in the day-to-day stuff and shuffling people from place to place, or getting the laundry done, or getting the food, or oh my gosh, we're out of milk, or oh my gosh, we're out of this, and we got to go do something else, that we don't take the time to do that kind of internal work. And the internal work on the good days is what's going to see you through when you have kind of a bump in the road, because we're all going to have bumps in the road. So I think that just do a little bit of focusing on what's going on inside you. So that's what day 2 is about. Hopefully you got the handouts. If you didn't, go ahead. How can you get them? If you sign up for at that email, it'll just do tomorrow and the next day. So I guess you could email me at coaching@suepatterson.com and tell me, do I need day 1, day 2, or day 3? And I'll just get them over to you. All right. Enough of that. Because now we're creating new family traditions. I've got no idea what these white things are over here. I think it is some big farming thing. But I just loved that picture. We're just starting something new. All right. So the first thing, how we're inundated with all these Facebook pictures of people and their kids, and they're taking pictures, and I'm in 1st grade, I'm in kindergarten, and all that. You can do that too, but just change it up. I'm 5, I'm 9, I love dogs. I mean, you could do whatever you want. I'm into Minecraft. But maybe you could just do, I'm 5 years old, and hold it up. And that way you can not feel left out. If you want to get in there and show your kids, remember, most of the time those people only care about their own kids' pictures anyway. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. But if it's something you want to do, it's an easy fix. A simple piece of paper on the computer, printed out landscape style sideways, that says I'm whatever age, and they can hold it. And that's something they like to do, sometimes. Or maybe you could do something more fun, taking pictures of them when you're at those back to school sales. Or maybe just fun pictures, things that they like to do. Take a bunch of pictures, and then these will be their shots for what was going on with them in the fall of 2018. Because I think that, for me, my kids, they love looking back at themselves. And so go ahead. And now, gosh, with digital photographs, it's so easy to just snap a little of this and a little of that. For when my kids were little, we were taking them to the Fox photo development place, and only to discover that everyone's eyes were closed. So you have huge advantages. Take advantage of it. Let's see, what else do I have for this? Or you could show their growth, whether you have marked something on a wall, or marked something on a piece of wood, or whatever, to show their growth. And then you do it every year in August. That's kind of cool. You could have it like side by side. Some people do that, where they have, like, as they get older. I was trying to find one of those pictures that had, like, the kid and the mom, and then 1 year, next year. And that would be fun to do too, So Allison says we make a chat book each year of everything they've done, kind of like a yearbook. That's so awesome. So I think that, they just don't they just love to see themselves? That's been my experience. Even now that they're in their 20s, they're like, oh, is that me? I'm like, yes, that's you. And then they kind of like, ah. So remember, you're just making your own traditions. Another cool thing to do is go to the movies in the middle of the day because you will have your choice of seats. Nobody will be there, and that's really kind of cool. Whether you go in the morning because why not, or you go in the middle of the afternoon because it's kind of nice to be off doing something when the school buses dump the kids in the front. That's sometimes for some kids that can feel a little bit like they're missing out. And so get them out of there. They don't have to watch that. They can go to the movies instead. Everybody's got dollar movies in their neighborhood or somewhere not too far. You could go to the movie. It could be like your thing. Or you could go to multiple. That could be exhausting. But you could go to multiple movies. Just something to make it fun and different and exciting so that they feel happy about this time of year too. Another thing, lots of times we hear that people are, that kids are bummed that they're not riding the bus, that they're not getting on the bus. So get them on a bus. It's not that hard to find one, and take a bus downtown, take a bus to somewhere else, look online and see where it's going, or just ride it until you see something that looks like a good place to get off. And, it's always, from a life skill standpoint, it's really kind of good to be able to hop on a bus, to hop on and hop off, and for them to know that how to do that, in addition to just letting them ride a bus because everybody's talking about getting on the school bus. So city buses are available. So maybe what you need to do is have a school night slumber party, maybe even the night before the first day of school, which in some places it's already happened, so we missed that boat. But still, I cannot tell you the number of times somebody said, "You're having a sleepover on a Wednesday?" We're like, yeah, and a Tuesday or a Thursday. We can do it whenever we want. So that's something that is something you can do, and something that if your kids really enjoy it, then that's a super fun way for them to create a little bit of community and feel a little, I don't not want to say rebellious, but it feels a little like me too. We got fun stuff going on too. And it's really fun. It's not one of those things that the grown-ups say, oh, it's going to be fun, and then it's not fun. This is real fun. So, for some kids don't want to do it, but the kids that do, let's help them get there. So lots of communities have a not back to school party. Lots of times because of this, in the Northern Hemisphere, it's hot. And so it's often at a swimming pool, but there's different things they do. They do potlucks. They do big get-togethers at parks. Laura says the joy is we get to do as we wish when we wish. Exactly. So find out if your local group is offering any kind of back to school event that you can participate in. And it's a cool way to get to know the other kids there. My kids would often go to those and come home with a new best friend. And that was it was fun. So check out, usually there's a Facebook group. Sometimes there's still email lists. Sometimes there's websites. Ask around. Over on the Unschooling momtomom.com website, we have a whole list of Facebook groups for different communities. So if you want to look at that, that's I'll try to get the link in here, but that's the way to find those people if you haven't already. You can probably just put your city and the word homeschooler or unschooler in the search box on Facebook, and it'll give you what the groups are that are nearby or that are available to you. So you might just want to host your own party. Maybe you're not going to, maybe the big one has already happened and you're just going to host something else of your own. A little smaller, a little more exclusive. I don't know if you really want exclusive. But you have your friends. Your kids have friends and they have them all over and they have a little party. And so there's just different ways that we've seen people have parties, or they've gotten together Chuck E. Cheese, or they have done different things where you can hang out together with your friends. So that's fun. Or maybe you're just going to hang out with one friend. That's my son on the right. He was about 12, and we had an exchange student with us. So hanging out with a friend is always a fun thing to do. Or go to the water parks. You know, the water parks are probably still open during the day on the weekdays for a couple more weeks. I live near Austin, and they're still open because the college kids aren't all on their schedules yet. And so take advantage of no lines. Take advantage of the fact that they're still available. And then, of course, there's theme parks, and again with the lines, that you don't have to deal with so many people that are coming. And, you know, theme parks all over the place of what's close by. And that's a super fun thing to do. I saw a little homeschooling meme go by the other day that said, first day of school, guess it's time for me to pull out our family passes and get over to wherever is close by for you. You know, because that's fun for the kids when somebody says to them, hey, we're going to start such and such, and it's going to be cool. What are y'all doing? Oh, just roller coaster hopping. We're going from place to place all week long. We're hitting all the roller coasters, or whatever is something that's like, whoa, really? And so the theme parks are available, and often things that people end up doing. Hey, Gabby. Maybe you want something a little more peaceful and you want to go back to nature, or you want to do a trail, hike a trail, or play in a creek, or go on a boat ride, or go fishing. There's a lot of opportunities. But when you talk to the kids, what kinds of other things can we do to make this kind of a celebration week? So the deal for us in the Northern Hemisphere is to prolong your summer as long as you can, you know, because just because school starts doesn't mean summer ends. School started here on Monday, and it was 101. I'd say summer's still happening. So, do summer until the weather says you can't, or until the park gates close, for water parks. But you can actually, this is kind of an interesting thing to me, that often we hear people say that unschoolers aren't living in the real world. In fact, they are. They're living in the world that really exists. It is still summer. It is still whatever season you're in. It didn't end just because the school doors opened. That's a totally artificial thing. So living your life based on what your surroundings are, that is reality. So just my little soapbox there. Maybe you want to take a family bike ride. I would say avoid the times like from 8 to 10 in the morning. You got the kids that are getting there on time, and then you got the frantic moms that are trying to get them there before the end of first period. So, but later in the day or in the afternoon, that's a fun thing to go do. It's one of those things that we sometimes don't prioritize, that a lot of the time what the kids really want is time with us. And so especially when they're little, but also when they're older, even when they kind of push a little bit at us, you want to try to be able to stay as available to them as possible. And a little bike ride is not a bad idea. Maybe you're going to take a family vacation. Maybe you will, it's it's not that late to plan one. You could plan one for the first week of September. You can plan one for any time you want. That's the cool advantage, that you do it when you want, whenever you want. And so if this back to school time is kind of hard for your guys, know that next year this would be a really great time to plan a vacation, so that you're gone for the week. And then you come back and everybody's kind of bored with it all by then. But or maybe you're gonna spend a lot of time looking at different things for going in September, because remember the prices drop after September, after Labor Day. And so that's always, whether it's a hotel or a beach house or or even airline tickets. There, in between this September and November time, this is kind of the good time for pricing. Or maybe you want to go camping. Maybe you want to go a little cheaper, and you can take them off to some campsites that are nearby, or maybe you make a road trip of it and you go camping somewhere really cool. It's possible that you could just, let me back up, because you could just do this in your own backyard. You could just pop up a tent and do a bunch of crafts and do a bunch, cook some marshmallows, put some fire in the grill, use it for wood, however you want to do it, that you could make a little campfire and you could do all the camping stuff right there in the backyard. You could kind of go rustic for a couple of days. That would be fun. They would think that's fun. You might be like, excuse me, I've got to go inside and have a shower. But you're kind of living outside in the backyard. That'd be fun. So over on Pinterest, I've got we have a whole bunch of boards on Pinterest over here at You Mom to Mom, because I didn't have the thing. And there's a lot of different boards, but this one is nature fun and camping, lots of fun activities that you could do with them. There's also one that's outdoor fun, I think it's called. And so it has lots of games and stuff that you can set up and ways to play in the backyard. So that's cool. I just want to make sure you know about that. Maybe you want to have a movie marathon. Maybe you're going to get up in the morning and start a Star Wars or an Indiana Jones, one right after another. And, or maybe it's comedies, or maybe it's just favorites, and you could end up having a tradition. I should have gotten the picture, because the one I always recommend is Accepted. And while it's all about going to school, it's also about not prioritizing the academics, realizing that following interests is a valuable thing to do. And in the end, that's totally celebrated. So if you have a kid that is kind of like, is this real? Are we really doing the right thing? A kid that really needs more deschooling. Usually that happens in like the 10 and up crowd. They might benefit from watching the movie Accepted. So a movie marathon at home is always fun. And sleeping in is always good. So lots of times you'll see unschoolers taking pictures of their kids and they're sleeping. Like the school bus rolled down the street and here's my guys. And they're snoozing. So go buy some new pillows. Go get something really wonderful. And then when you come down to have your movie marathon, everybody can bring their pillow and it can just be so cozy. So that's something. Or maybe breakfast in bed on the first day. I remember one year we did this. We had breakfast in bed, and we watched. It was in my bed because it faced the front of the house, and we could see that school bus drive by. The kids just waved from the window. Of course, the kids couldn't see them inside. But there we were, eating our breakfast, reading our stories, having, music was playing. We were having a great time. And a little breakfast in bed is sometimes a fun way to celebrate the day. We're starting the morning slowly. Just everybody bring their favorite book in, and we just kind of cuddle and read our books, and then start our day at whatever pace we want to start. So we don't always have to hit the ground running. Sometimes we can hang out for a little bit before we get up. So that's another option. Maybe we're going to go out for breakfast or lunch or dinner, whatever the choice is. Be prepared, though. The waitress will probably say, oh, no school today? So you can think of tomorrow we're going to talk a lot about responses that you can have to people. But if you go out to eat, you might want to say, oh, yeah, this is our school. And they'll kind of be like, And then you can say, we homeschool. And I think oftentimes it's easier just to say homeschool than unschool, because they're like, what? And they don't really want to know. They just don't get what you're saying. So, it's like out of their box. So having some pat answers is are really kind of a good thing to do. If maybe you'll just say you homeschool. Maybe you'll say, we haven't started yet. Oh, where'd he go? This really special school, there's only 4 people in there. But tomorrow we can talk about some ideas, or you guys can put them on here if you guys have some little things that you've said to people that kind of help move them along. Because sometimes your kids don't want the focus. Sometimes they would prefer that it not be all about that. Sometimes the kids are like kind of excited to be strong about it. So you just kind of gauge it by what's going on with them and support whichever way they want to be. So another thing you can do is list fun things to do at home. Brainstorm together on what kinds of things could you do during this week, during this upcoming few months. You know, I always like to think of it by the season, because there's festivals and there's things, which I think is the next one, things that are going to come to our community. So that's kind of your job as the official tour guide of the family, to look around and see what's available out there that they might like to do, and then let them know about it. But back with this one about things at home, there are things that they can do in the house that they may have forgotten about. That even if you kind of went through the room with a clipboard and said, oh, remember this? There's this stuff that's stuck over in the closet. Let's pull it out. We might want to do it. And maybe we need a couple more folding tables just so we have somewhere to set things up or to do things, and make it really convenient for them to enjoy and explore and discover some of the things they already have. Okay. So maybe you need to get some new board games. Maybe you need new cards, new dice, new whatever. Something to make it kind of fun. That maybe one of the things that you decide on your family brainstorming is that you're going to have a game night. And maybe you'll invite other people over for your game night, or a game day. Maybe you'll do a game day for the first day of school when the kids all go to school in the neighborhood. Everybody that are your friends come over and bring a game. So that's fun. So you want to get in on the good deals. Don't always avoid. I mean, if it really bugs you going into the store where they're having all of the back to school sales, then avoid it. But there are some good deals. You know, there's some inexpensive spirals. And what you may discover is that your kid really just kind of wanted new crayons, or new lunch boxes, or new notebooks, or a new hoodie, or new tennis shoes, or something. And now's really the good time to go in there and get it. Oh, I missed it. Somewhere I guess I didn't make it. I had a slide with Kohl's and shopping, but you get the gist. So another possibility, if you're having one of those days where you're thinking, oh man, I should have bought that Sing, Spell, Read, and Write program. Instead, go buy a family pass to one of the local zoos, parks, aquariums, or museums. Get a family pass so that you can say, hey, we have a couple hours, let's swing on over there. You know, when you don't have a family pass, you tend to you're that family that stays to the very end and the kid is crying and you're like, no, we've got to get our money's worth. There's going to be fireworks at 10 o'clock. We're staying to the end. Don't be that person. If you want to see the fireworks, come in later at 7. You know, but if you have a family pass, it's a lot easier to do because you feel like you can come and go, because you come and go whenever it fits your family. So use that curriculum money for family passes is my point. So another thing that I saw that some people did was they just kind of made it special, and I think of it kind of like a Easter basket, you know, full of stuff, but it can also be full of just fun things. And that would be a fun thing to come downstairs and see at the table. There's a box full of stuff that they would be really interested in that are fun and exciting. And it can be from the dollar store. It doesn't have to be something that's, sorry, Doesn't have to be something super expensive. So, but these just give you some ideas of ways to make it special. But the bottom line is you're going to build this sweet nest. You know, you're going to use your 5 senses. Think about what are they seeing and smelling and hearing and tasting and feeling. And how can I make this really this fabulous place that they can come home to or launch from or retreat back to, or how, you know, how can I make this a really wonderful place for them? And that way, you know, that's how learning happens. When the anxiety is down and everybody feels supported and loved, and then they're able to step into the unknown that learning sometimes brings. You're curious about something and you want to explore it. If you're afraid in your surroundings, or if your surroundings are not that conducive, then you tend to hold back. Whereas if it's a different setup, if it is this rich, loving, supportive environment, then they can explore to their heart's content. So I think that's the last of it. So if you guys have anything else that you do that you would like to add into the comments of things that are going on, I don't know whether it correlates. You know, sometimes after you've unschooled for a while, you're not even noticing when school starts. So know that in your future, that's probably going to come, that you're going to have, you know, you might be a little more focused on it in the beginning when you first start to do this, but as time rolls on, so does life. And the kids have run into enough other people that they know that's not always quite like the Lizzie McGuire movie, you know, from locker to locker, where they hang out all day long. It's not really like that. And so they run into enough people that have informed them, and they're just busy living their lives. You know, sometimes you can live your life as if school doesn't even exist. So that is what I wish for you in your future. But in the meantime, you can try some of these new traditions to fill in and do, instead of sending the kids off to school and getting swept up with all that back to school marketing that happens. And if you need a little more support, here's a couple of links for you of ways that I can help you. We've got a call in about 30 minutes. Our group coaching call starts over on Zoom. And if that's something you're like, oh my gosh, I really need some support, I feel so isolated in my community, I'd love a little collection. It's about 30 people, so it's nice. You're always welcome to join us over there. So I guess that's it for today. Make sure you're signed up to get tomorrow's. Tomorrow's going to be about naysayers and critics. And then on Friday, how to not have school creep in. And if anybody has any questions, you're more than welcome to ask. Otherwise, I guess we'll just wrap it up. I'll answer you in the comment section if you have a question. But 30 minutes, that's pretty good. And technically, we did it. I'm so excited. All right, you guys have a great Wednesday, and I'll see you online. All right, bye.